It is Monday night. Time for some straight talk. This is your host, Matt Hasley. We're coming at you. Hard to believe, but January 9th, National Championship going on. But today is a special day. A lot of people don't realize it because it goes by without much thought about it. A lot of people don't even realize it's going on. If you're watching on Ustream.tv, you can see that I got some police lights going in the background. And they have to do with today, being January 9th. Today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. A lot of people don't appreciate our law enforcement, as you can see by the way it's they're treated in the news. But it's supposed to be a day when local law enforcement is, acknowledged and everything for saving lives. It's supposed to be a day when we have our blue lights on at our windows to show our support or leave encouraging messages for our police. I changed my Facebook profile or whatever it is to the law enforcement appreciation. Texas governor lit up the mansion in blue today in honor of Texas law enforcement. But the way it's been too much lately, and the way what's been going on in our society, early morning shooting in Orlando, Florida. 2 deaths of law enforcement officers. Orlando Police Master Sergeant Deborah Clayton was shot to death 9 times. Or shot 9 times, but she was shot to death. And an Orange County deputy, Norman Lewis, who was out hunting the suspect, he was killed when a motorist pulled in front of him. 2 different tragedies, both stemming from the same incident. The murder of the police sergeant is still at large. It says, whoever is helping him hide is in for a rude awakening when police do catch up for all of them. This is coming from National Law Enforcement Appreciation said the aftermath of such incidents is overwhelming. Both of the brotherhood of officers and their respective departments, and for the families left behind. If you've ever been to officer's funeral, they're very emotional. I've been to one. It was almost daily. He would relieve me. He'd come in on the 3rd shift. I was working 2nd shift when I worked down in Texas. And I would, we'd switch shifts and go on. He was killed in off duty by a guy who went to strong arm robbery with robbed him with a gun. When he saw his badge, shot and killed him. So it can happen at any time. And these officers, way too many last year in 2016, then starts out already 2017, not slowing down from where it ended up. I have tons of friends of mine that are in law enforcement, that are still in law enforcement, and my respect goes out to all of them. And it's not just, patrolmen, police officers. It's from every aspect of law enforcement. You got your jailers and correction officers, you want to call them. You have your investigation officers. You got SWAT teams, everything. FBI, Department of Homeland Security. You got your Border Patrol. I mean, you name it. All law enforcement. Not a lot of respect out there for them right now. But just to show them I back the blue. It's one of those situations where if we don't support them, what's going to happen? We have to support them. So I'm hoping that every one officer can make it home safe. We already had 2 not, but hopefully the fugitive will be brought to justice. They showed his picture on the news, and it just saddens me to see, and probably not caring a bit. Has no remorse at all. I guess he'd been wanted in connection with 3 other murders. So this guy's a real class individual. There's a kind of a cool looking t-shirts and pullovers that you can get at Blue Lives Matter. Problem is nowadays you wear those and you get attacked. That's the problem with our society. So we have national championship going on. It's halftime right now. Alabama's leading Clemson 14-7. Good game going on here. Over the weekend we had 4 playoff games. It was it was games that there were some good games, but most of them all, they weren't really that close. Texans beat the Raiders 27-14. Steelers beat the Dolphins 30-12. They were all freaking out because Ben Roethlisberger has a boot on, and he says his foot feels fine, but it's just a precaution. Seahawks were all over the Lions. I mean, I thought the Lions were going to put up a better fight than that, and I actually thought the Giants would put up a better fight. Jordy Nelson unsure whether he's going to play in the next game against the Cowboys because after taking that hit on the sideline. Well, they don't. Saturday's game is going to be Seahawks Falcons. Then late game will be Texans and the Patriots. Sunday's game will be Steelers Chiefs, and 3:40 Sunday afternoon will be Packers Cowboys, which would be 4 great games. I'm picking. I'm thinking it's going to be. I think the Seahawks are going to end up playing the Patriots, and I think probably the Steelers will end up playing the Cowboys. I don't know. I don't know. Packers are pretty hot right now. Could go either way, Packers or Cowboys. If the Cowboys make it to the Super Bowl, that will probably be the shot in the arm that the NFL needs. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. In the PGA Tour, Justin Thomas ends up winning by 3 shots over Hideki Matsuyama to win a cool 1.2 or 1,220,000. Ka-ching! Yeah, nice little 3-shot win. Shot 4 rounds in the 60s. That'll do it most of the time. Jordan Spieth finished 3rd, 6 shots back, tied with Pat Perez and Ryan Moore. And long hitter Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, and Brendan Steele finished at 15 under. You're, rounding out the week, and you looked at it, golf course looked awesome. They were talking about some tee shots were just unbelievable how far they hit them. But they're at the Kapalua Maui, which has got a lot of different undulations and drops. It's amazing to see the ball run like that. But just starts to kick off the year. Happy to see it. I'm ready for golf. To hopefully it's going to be a great season. I'm looking at Tiger. Tiger's talks about where they say he's going to have a packed schedule. But before I get into that, they were talking about Jordan Spieth. He says he returned to Augusta. Says, I was very nervous on the 12th tee. Says Jordan Spieth hit an 8-iron over the bunker on the 12th hole at Augusta National. He watched a 15-foot birdie putt tumble into the cup on the last turn and raised his arm in celebration. He said it's too bad it was December. 8 months earlier, the birdie most likely would have led to another green jacket at the Masters. Spieth, who lost a 5-shot lead on the back nine last April in his bid to become the fourth back-to-back Masters champion, returned to Augusta National for the first time during a visit with AT&T chairman Randall Stevenson and Jeff Yang, a founding partner of Red Point Ventures. Both are club members. The birdie on the 12th brought a small measure of redemption at the Masters. He was leading by 3 shots when he dumped 2 shots into Rays Creek and made a quadruple bogey 7. I walked away from the computer or the TV, whatever, came back, and I see him tapping in, and I'm like, and I swear, I go, did it just say a 7? He lost 4 shots on that one hole. I was like, what the heck just happened? Spieth said of his December round, I was very nervous when I got on the 12th tee. And he was determined when he stood over the putt on the slower, softer greens of Augusta, determined not to leave it short. He watched the putt at the slow down at the front of the cup, then drop in for a 2. Probably gave a big fist pump. Spieth said, I was walking around with my hands up like the demons are gone. And he wasn't done. Spieth played the next morning with a left pin placement, hit 9-iron that spun back and nearly went in. Settled about 3 feet for another birdie. So I got 2 twos out of number 12 the first time back. He said the last 2 times I played the hole, I made birdie. So, you look at Thursday's round when he plays, and it's in 80 days or something like that, or it's, real close. When he gets there to that Thursday, maybe even Sundays, every day when he gets to that 12th hole, there's going to be a little demon that he's going to have to fight. You don't think of it as a PGA Tour player, as good as these guys are, that they, they're thinking, oh my God, look at the water there. They're not thinking of that. Do I have holes that bother me that I get up to? And hell yeah, everybody does. We were talking today. There's our third hole at the course I work at is there's a creek that runs down about halfway down the hole on the left side. And I told one of my friends, I said, I'd love to see him pull all those trees out so you can see the creek. He goes, yeah, so you can tell exactly where your ball goes in the creek at. And I was like, well, yeah, otherwise you walk up there and you're looking around, oh, was it this tree? No, was it this tree? So, but no, it's one of those deals where it opens up the hole for the view. And, yeah, there's a lot of people, they get up there and they go, the minute they stand up there, I remember I was in high school, and I think it was in my brother. I went to state for golf for a state junior tournament, and we got up to the one hole, and my brother says, whatever you do, don't hit it over there. It was like a magnet. Whoop! My ball was right over there. He goes, you idiot. And my brother's 3 years old. He used to tell me like it was, And so he goes, here, take a wedge and hit it out. I mean, it's this long, wheat-like grass. I'm like, no, hit 8-iron. So I hit it about 5 feet, goes nowhere, not listening to him. Hit it again. And so he's like, whatever. So I hit it onto the green, make a long putt for par, and he's like, just shaking his head at me. I end up shooting like a couple under on the back nine, and he didn't I asked him to caddy for me on the front. He said, no, I'm going to look at cars.
I shoot like 76 or 77 or 78. I was running there. I don't know what it was long time ago. I was probably 14, 15 maybe. And he's like, if you played better on the front nine, you'd could have won this thing. I said, well, yeah, I just didn't have the concentration. As a kid, young adult, I'm sure, I don't call Jordan Spieth a kid but he's 20-some years old. You look at that, he stands up on that tee, and next year, it's going to be like, oh my God, this is where I lost it. So, and the Masters is not just any tournament. It's like you're a Masters champion for life. You got to wear that green jacket. You got legends that have won it, like Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player. You got Fuzzy Zeller and in there telling jokes and everything, and you got Tiger Woods and just not everybody wins it. It's just a fraternity, as you want to call it, that you get into that not everybody makes it into. There's guys that would do anything to get into that. So, yeah, I can't wait for the Masters. That's my favorite time of the year. But I'm hoping for Jordan that he can look past it and not get have the tour or the 12th hole affect him too much. I really like him. I think he's a class kid. I think he's going to be fine. But you have it's going to be one to you're going to have to see how we can do it. Well, Tiger Woods, what's his chance in the Masters? A lot of people are betting on him to win. Well, Tiger plans to make his debut in 2017 at Torrey Pines, followed by starts in Dubai, Los Angeles, and PGA National over 3 of the following 4 weeks. Is that schedule too much for him? I don't know. I just wonder, that might be too much of him, having a jet set back and forth. But, he knows his body more than anybody. And I don't think he would do it unless he's really trying to gear up for a Masters win. I think it would be awesome to see him come back and win. I think he would have won it a couple of years ago if he doesn't hit the flag stick on, what is it, I think it was 13 or something like that. Just kicks it back in the water. But, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. That's the old saying goes. So, we, in other sports news, I didn't get into this, but speaking of, we're going to talk about the Fort Lauderdale shooter, but apparently another Giants deny that their team trashed a plane from on return from Green Bay. Not yet done with their off-the-field scandals for the week, Giants are accused of trashing the first-class cabin on their flight home from Green Bay following a wild-card loss to the Packers on Sunday. It said United Airlines gate agent told passengers of Flight 934 their plane had been trashed by the Giants on the preceding flight, causing a 3-hour delay to repair and clean the interior. The pilot came out and asked everyone's patience and shared where the plane came from, and the plane needed some extra help repairing and cleaning the interior passenger. Another 30 minutes passed, and the gate was told it was the Giants that destroyed the biz class cabin. We saw service personnel walking countless seat cushions off the plane. Upon entering the business class, the cabin sent only partially masked the alcohol smell. Said I had popcorn, chewing tobacco, and other food crumbs on my seat. This is Mark Croft. Some guy wrote on Twitter. Croft was the only one, wasn't the only one dealing with the delays allegedly caused by the Giants, who made headlines this past week for receivers jetting to Miami on Sunday night and causing damage to a wall inside their locker room at Lambeau Field. It said the flight was scheduled to depart from Newark for London at 8:30 a.m. but didn't take off till 11:47, 3 hours and 17 minutes late. The Giants and United denied an incident with the team caused a delay in the flight. It's not true. It's false, a Giants spokesman told the New York Post when asked if the team trashed the plane. At a United spokesman, there was a mechanical issue with the plane scheduled to operate Flight 934 from Newark to London, which resulted in an aircraft swap, so the flight was delayed while our team in Newark worked to find out an alternative aircraft that could operate the flight. Yeah. They had a mechanical thing where the seats were ruined, So, oh well. I'm sure that they didn't want to do is get the Giants in trouble. So let's do is, it's a mechanical issue. I've been on planes that had mechanical issue. I was on one. They were getting ready to take off. And it was when I was in a service. I was doing prisoner escorts. Get on the plane, and all of a sudden they said, well, we need everybody to deplane. Well, I've never had that option where they've had me get off the plane. I get off, and the engine is leaking fuel straight out of the engine. And I'm like, ooh, that's not good. So, yeah, they proceeded to swap us out planes, and then we were on our way. But, yeah, that takes quite a while, a couple hours at least. So, in other news, we had the airport shooting suspect makes his first court appearance. And the man accused of going on the shooting rampage in Fort Lauderdale, killing 5 and injuring 6, made his first court appearance in federal court. They also, just before 9 a.m. on Monday, 26-year-old Esteban Santiago, wearing a red jumpsuit and handcuffs, was escorted out of Broward Jail into a van where he took him to the courthouse. You look at, they're seeking the death penalty for these charges. Also, there is, they said clear that this man is both a risk of flight and danger to the community. But what's weird about this whole situation is he flew specifically to Fort Lauderdale. He didn't have any luggage. All he had was his weapon that was checked, and apparently within the next week or so, it was supposed to do is vote on a gun bill to allow people to carry guns in Fort Lauderdale Airport in the passenger, like into the area where he shot somebody. And I bet you that vote will be now. Will also, it'll have so much people against it, allowing them to carry guns there, which is not going to make anybody safer. If you allow the average citizen to go in to pick up their luggage to meet their family, and they might have been able to protect themselves. I mean, not saying they would have, but if somebody was standing there waiting for their family with luggage, and this guy goes on a shooting spree, he might have been able to defend him. Maybe he would have had half the people got shot. But yeah, this guy knew that he had. I mean, it was all planned out. This was not all of a sudden, well, let's fly to Fort Lauderdale and shoot people. Or when I get to Fort Lauderdale, hey, let's go to go visit some sites. Well, before we go, let's kill people. No, he had no intentions of. He immediately gave himself up. So, And they show him pictured with a keffiyeh and a one-finger ISIS salute. So, I think this was all planned out. We had also the other incident that had been in the news. It was where the four individuals had kidnapped and beat, scalped, berated. I don't know what you want to call it. I mean, just ridiculous the way they treated another human being. They were in court and filed multiple charges, and the judge says the judge says, I can't believe that you have no respect for humanity. I mean, or whatever like that. One of the individuals, I'm not sure his name right off the top of my head, but he was sitting there with his booking photo where he's got his teeth clenched like he's Mr. Tough Guy. I'm like, if you're sitting there for 5 years in prison, that tough look of whatever you're going to act like is going to melt off your face. The reality of it, I mean, they denied him bail. I've seen a lot of people talk about this. Where is Jesse Jackson and all them they're trying to do is get race relations, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, where are they? I'm surprised they're not out there defending him. It's wrong on so many levels. And you have the ABC. The ABC put it out. And now if you listen to Mark Dice. Mark Dice, I love listening to Mark Dice because he doesn't pull any punches. Mark Dice is a YouTube guy, goes out. He's awesome. He'll go out and he'll ask stupid questions to people and see how many people they'll try to get them to sign up for this petition that's just totally fictitious. And people are stupid enough that are not educated, or not educated. I mean, they can have the best education in the world, but they're not aware of what is legitimate or not, and they believe, what just because somebody's doing a survey, then it's got to be legit. So, but he was talking about these four, and he was talking about how if it was in the other, if it had been four white Trump supporters did this to a black man that was any black man, that didn't have to be mentally handicapped, they would have been burning down stores and stuff. Well, and Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, all of them would have been out. So they were talking with Mark Dice was talking about how not just I'm trying to think of the word ABC did is they reported it and they kind of slanted it. They said that they had they made it sound like it was the opposite way. They never said that the attackers were black. They never said that the victim was white. They made it sound like the attackers were white and the victim was black. They kept saying, they kept using the N-word towards the victim, they said. And they put it into your head that it was the other way around. And I'm like, why would the purpose of doing that? And the attack, the Fort Lauderdale shooter, CNN was caught lightning the photo of the shooter. I'm like, what is the purpose of that? They're trying to do is plant it into your mind that it's different than what it appears. They're trying to use manipulation to get you to think about something, and that isn't right. You look at Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin, they showed pictures of Trayvon Martin all the time when he was like 12 years old. Trayvon Martin was 16, 17 years old when he I'm not exactly sure how old, but Trayvon Martin was not. He didn't look nothing like he did when he was 12. But that's the only pictures you saw of him. There's pictures of him when he's like almost 100 pounds more than what he was, and he's like 6'1". They showed pictures of him when he's like 5 foot tall, and he's 12 years old, weighs 130 pounds. Same thing they did with Michael Brown in Ferguson. They showed Michael Brown in his graduation, gown and cap. They showed nice photos because they didn't want to show anything that showed how Michael Brown really was. Where he was. They have pictures of him flashing gang signs. That's not wrong to show those. They didn't want to do is taint somebody's opinion of him. The media talks about dealing out fake news. And they said, oh, these cable, blah, 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 whatever, or these internet source, they put out these fake news stories. Well, they've been busted themselves for putting out fake news. It's getting to be more and more. And that's what I like about Mark Dice. Mark Dice is working to do is expose them. There's an article out right now that he did. It's a YouTube video, actually, where it shows one organization, one mainstream media organization, rather than showing an actual crime scene, they took 2 tripods and strung a police tape between 2 of them and just filmed to make it look like they were at a crime scene. Well, other people were there and watched them filming and took pictures and video of it and put it up on Facebook and to YouTube to show that they were creating the news. It happens all too much. The problem with our mainstream media is they talk about and they're screaming fake news, but they're the ones that are making up the news. You talk about they report about Donald Trump. Well, we had the Golden Globes. They went on. And Meryl Streep had to get on there and probably do one of her worst performances ever, to sit there and attack Donald Trump. When's it going to end? When are they going to give up and realize that he's going to be the president? You talk about how, I think it was Chuck Schumer come out, and he says, you better watch out because, the CIA or whether the intelligence people can get back at you more ways than you want to think, and he's like, almost like he's making a threat towards him. They're so. I listened to a podcast. It was actually, I listened to it last night. And he says there's different types of people. There are people that are wealthy, people that are smart. And he was talking about Sam Walmart. And it was talking about how Sam Walmart was arrested and spent a night in jail in like Brazil or whatever. And the reason why he was spent in jail is because he was crawling around a store in a Brazilian market, measuring the aisles, how wide they were. And he spent a ton of time in competitor stores trying to learn what they do. Well, he was talking about how when Sam Walmart, people had asked to meet up with all these business people, and Sam Walmart was the only one who responded back to him. So they came over, and the whole time they had dinner, Sam Walmart asked them questions. Guy that's a multi-billionaire, got more money than I think Bill Gates and a bunch of them put together. And he was always asking questions. He was trying to do his better himself. Well, you get these guys that like Chuck Schumer and all them, they're so smart and they're so arrogant that they can't see the opposite side of the picture. They think it would be better if all the car companies left the country. They don't realize that where are you going to be able to pay the taxes with? What kind of jobs after they automate and become, and they leave this country? What's going to pay the taxes to support their Obamacare or whatever and all this, which they apparently there's multiple different variations to replacements for Obamacare. I just hope that they do something that works, because if they don't, it's going to land in their lap. It's going to land in the GOP's lap. So, but I had to laugh. Nancy Pelosi says Obamacare was passed with bipartisan support. And I'm like, what? Look at the voting. Not a single Republican voted for Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, if you want to call it. I'm just like, I think they just say things and they figure, if we say it, they'll believe us. So, yeah, really. We have apparently Jack Ma, who is the leading, what you would call him, he is, it's close to Amazon. He's a Chinese, whatever, it's a Chinese version of Amazon. He's probably the richest Chinese guy there is. But apparently Trump and Jack Ma had a sit down, and they're talking about 1 million jobs in the U.S. I hope it works out. I hope it that's what, if that happens, you gotta when President Obama came into the office, I wanted him to be successful. And the reason why I wanted him to be successful, because if I don't want him to be successful, that means I don't want our country to be successful. Well, I think you have to put away the pitchforks and go, hey, we got to do is try to rally our country. Maybe it's time that all these it's about time that they shut up and start to give them a chance. It's I don't know. It's just crazy. They're still crying. I look at Facebook and people are still whining every day. When are they going to stop? Well, we're going to switch a little gears here. Talk about, different things that go on. You have, I had to laugh. FBI is apparently paying the Geek Squad, from Best Buy, to dig around in computers for evidence of criminal activity. So I'm like, really? Geek Squad? So according to court records, Geek Squad technician, apparently they named the guy, he's an FBI informant, reported he accidentally located on somebody's computer an image of a fully nude, white, prepubescent female on her hands and knees on a bed with a brown choker collar around her neck. Westfall notified his boss and also an FBI informant who alerted another FBI informant at Best Buy, as well as the FBI, claiming the image met the definition of child pornography and was tied to a series of illicit pictures known as the Jenny shots. So why would you, thank God that, these pedophiles are stupid enough to take their computer to Best Buy to have it worked on, because I'm glad they're getting caught. But just, why would you, if you think you're going to do something, why would you take it to Best Buy? Oh, well. Stupid is, stupid does. I had to laugh. Here's a weird one. If you live in the Midwest, you do this on occasion, but why would a Roseville, Michigan man gets a $128 ticket for leaving his car running in the driveway, heating it up? So the guy's name is Taylor. He says he's been shaking his head over a parking ticket he got on his own property. I thought it was some kind of joke, he said. At first, I was thrown back by it, he said. I was really surprised. The ticket was for leaving the keys in the ignition with the motor running and no one around. He said he was only doing something many people do in Michigan in the winter. I was in and out in probably 7 to 8 minutes, he added, so I got amount of time. He ran up here, gave me a ticket, and by the time I got out, he was nowhere to be seen. He said, frustrated with the ticket, he posted a photo on Facebook where he racked up thousands of comments and shares. Says the Roseville Police Department ticket comes with a $128 fine. There's no state law against leaving your car turned on and unattended. But dozens of cities across Michigan have local ordinances. We have 5 to 10 cars stolen this way every winter, Roseville Police Chief James Berlin said. It's dangerous, and of course it drives everyone's insurance rates up. It drives our crime rate up. Many of the ordinances will allow you to use a remote start because the vehicle is locked. Berlin tells 7 Action News they will not apologize, and in fact, he encourages his officers to enforce the law. It's common sense. We can't warn everybody of the law. There is common sense. Says, don't leave your car running unattended, Berlin says. Well, I got to agree with him. You don't want to leave your car unattended, but hey, if you got it, get a remote start. Because if you leave your car out there and it gets stolen, who has to pay for it? Here's a kind of a goofy story. Chinese husband sues his wife for being ugly. Wins $120,000. Says, stumble it. 12 responses to Chinese husband sues wife for being ugly, wins $120,000. That's wow. And speaking of suing somebody, apparently Saudi prince is suing Forbes, and he's suing them for, get a load of this, Saudi prince Awalid bin Talal, one of the world's wealthiest businessmen who owns assets including London's Savoy Hotel, has launched a libel action against the business magazine Forbes over claims it underestimates his fortune by $9.6 billion. Al-Walid, kind of hard to pronounce that, sorry, who is often described as the most influential businessman in the Middle East, vowed to sever ties with Forbes in March when a coveted annual rich list valued him at $20 billion, placing him 26th most wealthy billionaire on the planet. The prince insisted he was closer to $30 billion and accused the respected U.S. magazine of being demonstratively biased against Saudi Arabian firms. Said now Al-Walid has taken his complaints of the magazine to the High Court in London, filing a defamation claim against the Forbes publisher. In some of those, it is, like in Korea, it is one of those deals where it is like an order of merit. How wealthy they are. My roommate when I was in Korea, his father was the 26th richest man in Korea or something like that or whatever. And I was like, what? And yeah, he was, I mean, that's the way he used to take the other Katusas, which are Koreans augmented to the United States Army. They worked with us. And they used to take all the Katusas out. He'd give him money to take them out to eat. And, I mean, it's an order of, their wealth is part of their culture of being, of power. So, whatever. But, speaking of other, here's a weird story. This came out the Telegraph UK. It said, have you ever wondered how long the world could stand with a zombie apocalypse? Well, apparently, it said the zombie apocalypse would wipe out humankind in just 100 days, according to university research, which hard to believe that they actually researched this, but it said psychics or physics, students from the university predicted that mere 300 humans would remain alive and uninfected at the end of 100 days. I'm sure it would probably go and it would just keep, it'd extrapolate like crazy. They presented their findings to the Journal of Physics Special Topics, a peer-reviewed student journal run by the university's Department of Physics and Astronomy. Using these hypotheses that a zombie has a 90% chance of turning a human into a zombie once it's found, said human, and that zombie could find at least one human a day. They predicted how long the population could hold out using the SIR model. So they really worked at this. So I don't know. I don't see that ever being a zombie apocalypse, but hey, it's always be ready to be prepared. Here's one that I get a kick out of. Everybody, I don't know a lot about everybody, but I mean, I bought scratch-offs and I've lost. But apparently a woman who repeatedly aired her frustration at failing to win a jackpot by making obscene and violent threats against Pennsylvania Lottery headquarters faces 53 charges. Tawanda Shields, 47, made dozens of calls over the past 8 months to the agency's offices outside Harrisburg. Said, from the calls I've listened to, she basically completely obsessed with the lottery. And the fact that she doesn't win upsets her very much. Detective Robert Appleby said she would get really sexually explicit with her insults. Appleby said in late October, Shields said someone would die at the retail store where she buys tickets. He said she also told lottery employees she had searched for them online, knew where they lived, and had hired someone to hurt their family members. Says Shields of Philadelphia has defended her right to make phone calls on free speech grounds. Appleby said she does not appear to have a listed phone number. She basically taunted me the one time when I spoke with her as well. I switched phones. Y'all never figure out where I am, Appleby said. Although Shields has used anonymous burner phones, authorities were able to determine her identity. Honestly, had not made some of the comments she had made in messages, it might have been a lot harder, she said. Police on Tuesday filed 25 counts, each of harassment and stalking, as well as counts for making terroristic threats. She left 21 voicemails at lottery headquarters and reached people 8 of the to 12 times. Imagine that. Detective, the Shield's main interest is in scratch-off tickets. And at the end of the threatening calls, he said she signed off with a lottery advertisement catchphrase, "Keep on scratching." That is what they call obsessive compulsive. Write a letter, check the stove. Write a letter, check the stove. Write a letter, check the stove. So, yeah, you just... And here's another good one. This guy got arrested. And to conceal the arrest, and this is Paul Meyer in New York, the owner of a weekly upstate New York newspaper says man bought hundreds of copies in an unsuccessful attempt to keep people from reading about his drunk driving arrest. Says state police arrest, I don't even want to mention his name, I don't want to give him, but in Wayne County, and charged him with driving while intoxicated. Police also charged him with refusing to be fingerprinted or photographed. They say he told troopers he didn't want his mugshot in the newspaper. The 12,000 circulation times of the Wayne County says it obtained a mugshot from the county jail. It says it printed the mugshot and the story on New Year's Eve and published them online. It said newspaper owner and editor Ron says Talbot nearly bought 1,000 newsstand copies at $1.25 each. The telephone message left at his number listed has not been returned. So, yep, you're trying to do is hide your... It says also another, right now you got snow removal, you got people getting mad because they block and plowing people in and stuff like that. Well, apparently state police say a dispute between neighbors over snow removal ended up in a western New York man shooting out the tires of the neighbor's vehicle while the neighbor was sitting in it. Trooper says they responded late night Wednesday to a report of a neighbor dispute in Chattahoochee County of Machias, 35 miles southeast of Buffalo. Police say they learned of a 55-year-old man got a verbal and physical confrontation with a neighbor over snowblowing. Troopers say the argument, the man got out a shotgun and shot out the tires of the neighbor's vehicle. The neighbor wasn't injured by the gunfire. Charges against the shotgun-wielding neighbor include reckless endangerment, menacing, and criminal possession of a weapon. The man is being held in jail on $10,000 cash bond. So really, over a snow incident, and you're going to end up doing is going to jail. And then here's, you talk about how stupid criminals are. Well, apparently, this is in Fairmont, West Virginia. Authorities say a man stole tools from his workplace at an auto repair shop, and then he accidentally called his boss as he tried to sell them. Citing an arrest report, the Times West Virginian says the owner of the repair shop in the community of Millersville told deputies that one of his employees recently called him about tools he was selling. The owner said the employee immediately hung up after he realized who he had called. Deputies say they recovered the stolen tools after they obtained a search warrant from the vehicle and the home of the worker. Not a bright end of it. Ferner is charged with felony breaking and entering as well as conspiracy to commit a felony. So, that's not real bright. Let's see. Hey, boss, you want to buy the tools I stole from you? So, you're having a bad day also. I was talking about airplane stuff earlier. You're having a bad day when you're a baggage handler and he gets locked inside the plane's cargo area during flight. So it says United Express is investigating how the baggage handler became trapped inside the cargo area, one of its planes en route to Charlotte, North Carolina, Washington, D.C. The United Express Flight 6060 operates from Mesa Airlines, departed Charlotte Douglas Airport, traveled for an hour and 22 minutes to Washington Dulles International Airport on Sunday. I wasn't sure, but I didn't think the cargo areas were heated. So, but it says Reginald Gaskin, 45, declined comment when reached by the Washington Post, was stuck inside the cargo area of the plane, was reportedly unharmed. American Airlines worker became aware Gaskin was possibly trapped in the plane when the flight was already en route. An employee of the airline's ground handling vendor was found unharmed in the aircraft's cargo hold. United Express said in a statement the cargo hold temperature controlled and pressurized and the employee is safe. We are continuing to look into what happened. Wow, that's good. You're lucky there. So, you always think about that where they don't pressurize that part of the cabin, but that's good because I'm sure they have pets and everything. They're flying down in there, so yeah. Also, you taking your car in for an oil change? Well, at Dormont, Pennsylvania, some auto shops offer a 10-minute oil change service. That still would have been about 7 minutes too long for a Pennsylvania woman who gave birth while the oil in her husband's pickup was being changed at an auto dealership. It says Amanda Sherman gave birth Monday when she went to the restroom Monday at number 1 Cochran Nissan of South Hills in suburban Pittsburgh. Imagine that. I would not want to be a dealer and have to do is, deliver a baby. When I was in law enforcement, luckily I never had to do that. So we had, what's the other one? Oh, this is really a smart gift, or not gift, technology thing. Apparently, and I'm hoping it goes viral to where it ends up most places have it. But Japanese restrooms offer special toilet papers for wiping phones. When cleaning up after number 2, don't forget your number 1 gadget. It says NTT Docomo, a unit of Japan's telecom giant, has installed smartphone wipes in restrooms at a Tokyo Narita International Airport. And so the company even posted a helpful instructional video how to use Japanese toilets and bidets, which it calls a shower, as well as new smartphone wipes. The wipes will come in some Narita bathrooms until March 15th. So, I tell you what, I think that's a great idea. The wipes also double as ads for NTT's Wi-Fi service, as well as a travel guide app that offers voice translation for visitors to Japan. Smart idea. No matter where you are giving the phone, a wipe isn't a bad idea. The 2012 study for Wall Street found poop germs on all 8 of the cell phones randomly tested. So people don't, you think about that. You go in to use the bathroom, a lot of times people got the phone out or they set the phone down and they don't realize that, yes, that gets all over everything. So it's always a good idea to clean your phone after you go number 2. But they said University of Arizona study found that phones are 10 times germier than the typical toilet seat. That's sick. So, you don't realize that you're actually putting that up next to your face. Ugh. So, current right now it's 17-13, or 17-14, Alabama by 3. It is that time already. It is a fast hour. Hard to believe. I did see a really cool product, and I can't wait for it to become available. It's these special lenses for people that suffer from color blindness. I suffer from a red-green color deficit or color blindness. I would love to be able to check those out. Eventually, I can imagine that they're just going to be a pair of sunglasses you get or a pair of glasses that you wear, and it automatically corrects the color blindness with corrective lenses. So it'll all be together. I can't wait till that comes out because I'm looking forward to that. Both my boys have color blindness, so it's common for boys to get it, very uncommon for women to get it. So my daughter doesn't have it, and my wife doesn't have it. So I can't wait to be able to just try those lenses on and see what everybody really sees, where the colors will actually stand out. I pull up to stoplights at night, and if they're flashing, I'm not sure if it's flashing yellow or red at times. Depends on how faded the lenses are. The new ones, the digital streetlights, those are easy to tell. The ones that are older and they're faded, that's where I have a trouble. So a lot of times I have to go by position on the light to be able to tell. So, all right, well, everybody have a great night, a great week. We'll see you Wednesday night. So remember, if you see something, say something. And if you see an officer, tell them you support them. I like hearing the stories about people sitting there where officers getting gas, and the people stand there and wait until the officer is done because they're there to help protect that officer while they're vulnerable. So, do what you can to help protect that officer. Show them your support. Tell them you care for them. And we'll see you on Wednesday night. So, most of all, be safe, people. We're going to go out with a little bit of, how about maybe